Hi, I'm Mary Sprunger-Froese. I'm artist in residence with RAWtools. RAWtools turns guns into garden tools. Our blacksmith today is turning a rifle barrel into a garden tool. This is a mattock. Our tools are not raw, they're actually roasted. But the word raw turned around spells war. We turn around weapons that do harm and transform them into tools that cultivate life, garden tools. June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. You may be viewing this at the end of June, a good time to take stock and to think about how we can make future months gun violence prevention. Mike Martin, the director and founder of RAWtools, has written a book with Shane Claiborne, Beating Guns, Hope for People Who Are Weary of Violence. My copy is worn. It's a good thing to keep returning to. There are chapters on the gun history in the United States, gun manufacturing, the National Rifle Association, kids and guns, the Sermon on the Mount and the Second Amendment, and common sense change. Can we beat guns? First, a few bullet points. The US has 5% of the world's population, but we have almost half of the world's guns. In the US, 105 people die every day from gun violence. The NRA has 90% of its members are white, 84% are male. In the United States, guns are manufactured at a rate of 17.9 every minute. That's one gun made every 3 seconds. And Black Americans are killed by police violence at a rate more than twice that of white Americans. And now, can we beat guns? Some loaded words from our local spoken word artists.
There was an NAACP activist. His name was Middle Passage, and he died on the journey for justice conducted by the 18th president and CEO of the NAACP, Reverend Dr. Cornell William Brooks. Middle Passage. Middle Passage just makes me think about a point in life as well. And so this is called Middle Passage because I know this is what he wanted. Middle Passage. Go, young people, and learn. Seek out those things that make your spirits burn. Just go. Just go. Get out of the city. Get out of the way of the bullets. Get out of the way of the blue. Just go and learn and walk and keep walking and run and run and run. Find justice.
Loaded words and bullet points. We are conditioned to expect abrupt volcano violence from the voice of a gun, unlike the rhythmic clatter of a barreling train whose low moan fits their body. Through history's cacophony of moments, an alabaster America archives whitewashed pages. Every explosion outshouting griots and profit protests, the weight of a gun, the timbre of a gun, the mass of a gun, the hallelujah of a gun, the flash glory crash bang symbol of a gun, police siren symphony, a brutal bruise of a boy, funeral fugue, We can't pretend we are passing through unmolested. We have been whatever is unholy. Whatever is holy, we will become. One sentence changes an inheritance. Guns speak in puzzles, jigsaws sawed off. The conversation always has a hollow point. Words better than bullets because they don't slaughter and lodge. They lodge and swirl, lodge and free, lodge and spread, lodge and seed, like possibility gardening the system. Transformation is all the ugly that comes before we butterfly. Dark cocoons precede dappled wings. A pigeon still sings a tender crescendo, tilting ears to the divine. When we start calling them doves, we will hesitate to hate them. Invocation of action, relief for a world parched by politics and waging war. We cannot beat death, but we can beat death in life sometimes. It is hard to wait for what we may never see. It is harder to abandon all that we believe in. A gun knows what it is to kill and still recognize flowers outside your home. The tilted, splintered door open, the world a library of birds, books of stone, leaf, ivy, vine, and brooks to read. We cannot raise fists or link fingers with triggers ready as we wring our hands. We beat the drums with open palms, feet planted, anticipating peace. We know we are the ones we have been waiting for.
Hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Got my hand on the freedom plow. Got the tools for my journey now. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on.
Moving with love, letting go of fear, finding the light as we all draw near.
Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on.
Acknowledging every bullet. I am progressive in every fiber of my being, he insists as he snaps magazine into Glock. But I must defend the perimeter. I hang my head in recognition for a forge remaining cold for today. But it is not merely the weapon, which varies amplitude from handgun to tactical nuke. It is not merely authority, which varies frequency according to uniform worn. It is a desire to do violence that condemns the heart. Each bullet amplifies human rage to its own anechoic chamber the size of a gun barrel. Drop the weapon. Drop the anger. Drop the fear.
Me and Alex are about the same age. His was a life of anger, mine silent rage. Our mothers were sisters, so now you can see where we all fit in the family tree. His pops not around, they got divorced. The smooth edges suddenly became coarse. In case you're interested as to my story, my pop's still around, but he just ignores me. I live in NYC, him in the BPT, because his mom didn't like the tough city. But birth life ain't what it's cracked up to be. The true story of an urban tragedy. BPT, the town of Bridgeport. Alex's mom had 6 kids to support. So you can see they were poor. Give him the dream to yearn for more. He had to make it fast and fast indeed. Because they had so many mouths to feed. Few deals later, some people harassed. Food on the table, no questions asked. In life, things don't go as planned. So one must do what one can. Society and its apathy can lead to an urban tragedy. He and his partners had an argument, or should I say a disagreement. Wasn't big, he didn't make a fuss, he didn't learn there was no one to trust. They all went into an abandoned building. He suddenly got that sinking feeling, because when he turned around, his friends vanished, their loyalty for him suddenly vanished. 70 slugs later, unrepentant, the morgue's got a new tenant. This part's really hard for me. The climax of an urban tragedy. You didn't give it a second thought. He had no weapon. How could he have fought? Blowing away someone didn't cross your mind? What about the family he left behind? To you, he was just another hit. Thanks for putting him in the old bits. He told his mom sorry to make up for the fact that a mom will never have a son back. Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be an urban tragedy? Why does it have to be?
This is about when I found out my sister was gone, had been taken from me. The one I never knew. The one I didn't get to know. My sister, Sandra Bland. Bad news. They told me when I was standing outside, it was a damn uncomfortable, humid night. I was watching cars and people from my back porch in Wildflower Park. I was wishing for rain. I was wishing desperately for rain. I remember it. And then it came. It was like the rain came. It was a deluge. It came with the news that Sandra was dead. That Sandra Bland, my sister, who I didn't know, who was taken from me before I knew her, was dead. Phenomenal in her own right. I know that, even though I never knew her. She was dead. She was gone. She was no longer standing. No more would we bear witness to the strength, the wisdom, the glory, the her, everything that she alone possessed, yet spread so generously among the people. I know this because I learned about my sister after she was gone. My bottom lip fell close, all the way down to my heart. I was missing a breath, an essential breath. I was missing it in the humidity outside on my porch in Wildflower Park, which I now found to be stifling like the circumstances. My tears, the lump in my throat, the way I couldn't see the reality within the tragedy of how avoidable the loss of her. Bad news.
Taking stock. What's the story? The facts bleed over the inventory. The list too long. There's something wrong. Are we having gun yet? Some flashbang theory? How come we're leery? Such protection promotes infection. The wound swells, tensions simmer. How can we heal? Hope grows dimmer. Many seethe, others grieve. How can we breathe? Take stock. Stock takes and makes gun shops essential. What kind of potential are we shooting for? High capacity? High cop a city? Or justice uprising? Just us uprising. Human capacity, people power, peaceful power. Are we having gun yet? Bottom of the barrel? Take stock before you take aim.
Denise. Late June had begun with a breath that disturbed the hanging air in her room. Particles of dust and illuminating sun commanded the flowers to bloom. Probably woke up around noon, and the night before she danced through the moon, wearing heels to make her man swoon, sang along with salsa hips, arms raised to the tunes. Next morning, kissed her niece, nephew, posted pics up on Facebook, gave a shout out to her sister Tiffany who raised her. With her birthday the next week, life had more dopamine to rush. Denise reapplied her blush, happily called her girls and texted her crush. Almost forgotten that her father's a lush with a broken up psyche. Recently mugged and looking unsightly, Denise gave him advice on not drinking up nightly. Had to speak like a child because her dad is not mighty. Now he speaks of her kindly, like the days when she would follow him blindly through Puerto Rico roads of dulce, escuchando coquis por la noche, remembering the island's breath long enough to wake up in Patterson. Down the street from Camden, where bullets for decades were crammed into the buildings that are still falling. Foundations of sand are appalling. Minutes later, her friends were calling. Ringtones reawakened the room to muse. Red shoes wiped away her blues. Out the door like her heels had lit the fuse. Sister couldn't come out tonight. Said she had to work. Had to get her kids to sleep, but told her, yo, go berserk. Fast forward past car conversations, street lights skimming by to disco rock jitter jive with flashing neon lights. To own the night was understated. Denise looked so fly that heaven fainted and knocked an angel from its depths. Unbeknownst to her, that angel's epithet. Boricua perfume and rhythm couldn't keep the club from closing. She cashed out her tired legs and outside on the wall was posing. She waited for her ride to come, but he had taken way too long. She peeked around the corner to see what had gone wrong. Maybe he lost the car in a busy lot. Something common we've all forgot, like the keys lost in a couch, but that is not keeping with our plot. At 2 a.m. she peered around the brick and heard an argument's deadly prose, where the last two words were clack, clack, and her eyes began to close. Until then the night was perfect, though her man had plenty woes. He owed a doughboy money, and that she did not know. In the surveillance tapes shown to me by her sister, she grasped at her chest, and we thought the might had missed her. But then she dropped, and the two men fled. An angel came to lift her head. Azrael showed mercy as she bled. Luke reminded her that she were flesh, a breath to pass that never comes again, a reminder to keep breathing, hallelujah, amen. Reminiscing through her nocturne, she heard ancient words flow modern. The ephemera of life was making solemn the breath she had to calm her. Keep breathing. Toes are cold from dancing like gold. She could not breathe through lungs' threshold, could not speak because last call was her last communing. The spirits in her chest could not stop the bleeding. Keep breathing. Where was Elijah to call out, "Oh Lord, my God, please let this girl's breath return to her. Hold it in your lungs. This breath is the rest of your life. Hold it like the last note you'll ever vibe to, a dwindling road that will guide you to the peaceful end of oblivion." Tiffany still posts on your Facebook wall, even though the dust returned to the earth as it was. She still shares your last post as your life's breath returned to God who gave it, about how proud she was to love you as her sister. how much she loved your kids, leaving us with the unfathomable refusal to accept that Lazarus was only a metaphor.
The world knows you as the man who murdered my sisters. I know you as someone across the gulf of the same canyon. Both of us were just trying to figure out how to get across. We are like two sides of the same coin. Some people call you the bad penny. Just because it landed tails up, they say it's bad luck. We could have had the same parents. We were homeschooled using the same books from the same publishers. We both learned that evolution is a lie. Maybe that's why we both had such a hard time progressing. 100 miles apart, we did the same training. They told us God loved us. I heard voices and gave prophecies. They said you heard voices too, but those voices were the different ones. Same coin, other side. We both had demons haunting us. Mine were just clothed in angel skin. It took our lives colliding for me to see mine. We collided in one moment. Somehow, that moment always felt like it would happen. I wonder if you must have felt that too. You sprayed bullets trying to build a bridge of metal. I have been trying to build a bridge of metal ever since, trying to finish the job you started without using violence as a tool. On the day the voices we heard collided, I want you to know I saw them too. The demons you were so acquainted with. I've been living with them for almost 13 years now. Maybe they don't erupt the same. See, I never turned my violence outward, always loaded my gun and turned it on myself. This time, I'm learning that just because a coin isn't lucky doesn't mean it's a bad penny. That some bridges aren't built out of metal. Matthew, your name means gift of God. If I'm the side of the coin that's heads up, it's because you were my heads up. There never was a canyon between me and anyone else. There was only the canyon inside myself that can only be crossed if I'm brave enough to fall, to hit bottom and find myself in the dark, to have the bravery to find you there too. Metal isn't about bullets and bridges. It's about meeting the darkness and naming it holy. So instead of a bridge, I'm building an altar to both the sides of this same coin, to believing in my own darkness as fiercely as I believe in your light, to the complexity of being human. Because of you, I've finally accepted that I'll never be alone, that there is nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with us. You thought you were so different. you're not so different after all.
Keep your hand on the plow, hold on. Sword to plow, gun to tool, gonna make a place where love can rule. Turn that sword to a plow, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Turn that sword to a plow, hold on. Hold on.
This is inspired by this season of pandemic and street protest in which we find ourselves. History, today and tomorrow. I don't want back what I once had, the way it was. No, I don't think so, because I'm here now. And there's a reason for it all, understood or not. Presently, it will be revealed unto me one page at a time until my chapter closes or my book is complete with justice.
Can we beat guns? Near the end of the book, Mike and Shane write, "We would celebrate a community that no longer trains for war, but that plots for peace, building with tools that have been transformed from a past we are ready to leave behind. We can recognize this through the ritual transformation of swords into plowshares. We've seen activists and police officers take the hammer together. We've had folks shot by guns and folks who have shot people with guns beat on the same anvil. Republicans and Democrats, veterans and pacifists, homeless folk and survivors of genocides, politicians and anarchists, Christians and atheists, Jews and Muslims. We've had guns donated that people had intended to use to kill themselves. We've seen veterans transform the guns they brought back from war. The Forge brings us all together. It creates a space to pray, to breathe, to heal. There is a way to beat guns, and it addresses the triggers in our hearts as well as the triggers in the streets. We need everyone at the table." Thank you for watching this video. We invite you to visit RAWtools.org, our website, our Facebook page, Twitter, and we invite you to help us in this task as we look for how can we beat guns. We need you. We need everyone at the table.